Hey, everybody, do your duty. Send out the show. The CONVO couch is here, and I am Pasta Jardula.
And I am Fiorella.
And Oz is on the ones and twos, and Shanda Mass is kind of hanging on out too as well. So we might get some chirping from the bleachers today, but that's going to be good chirping, ladies and gentlemen. Do us that favor. Get on over to Rokfin, Rokfin. Subscribe over there if you got a few extra bucks to help us out. $9.99 a month gives you our premium content, which we never put things behind a paywall. But it also gives you everybody else's premium content across the board on the network for that one low, lovely price. And I believe you could also get a year subscription if you got a few dollars, a few extra pieces of scatol to throw around, fam. And I'm saying scatol because I want to send love to James Caan and Tony Sirico, who just passed recently. Us Italian soldiers. We're losing the good ones, fam. We're losing the good ones.
Yes, fam. That's unfortunate. I just saw one of the good episodes. But yes, very, very unfortunate. The Italians need to eat better. I think that's the conclusion. Too much.
Especially the Italian Americans.
Salami. That's what I mean. Too much salami.
Too much dough. Too much everything. Mm-hmm. And by the way, for the record, Fiorella watched the episode with the Russian special forces dude. That's why she watched that episode. He killed Chechenian, the characters. Paulie Walnuts, a.k.a. Tony Sirico, who just passed away, with Christopher Moltisanti, had a little run-in with the Russian special forces guy. And guess what? He got away. He got away. I'm ruining the episode.
Yes, fam. It's always the damn Russians, I'm telling you. You know, that's why I'm here, because it's always the Russians.
That episode was great because Tony Soprano was like, "You got to get this guy. He's a special forces guy. He's killed Chechenian with his bare hands. You're going to screw everything up with the Russian mob if this guy gets away."
Yeah, and then they kept saying it was the Czechoslovakians.
Well, today's show is going to be interesting. Special shout out to Audrey out there, who just handed me some coffee this morning. We got some new fresh coffee in the building. Thank you, Audrey, for holding it down. And thank you to the fams out there. I need some more Joey's coffee with my picture on a label with a llama.
I need to have, yes, I need to have my Russian coffee, first of all. And I need that to be exported elsewhere. Am I being sanctioned right now? Like, what's going on here?
Damn.
I have to stick to soda water, Russian soda water. It's like lavender something soda water. It's really nice, actually, fam. You would enjoy it. It's probably none of that rat poison soda water that you're used to drinking.
Well, you know, I've stopped drinking the soda water on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that? I don't know. See, you haven't been getting the...
I know.
You know, what do they say in Goodfellas? I don't know if they've got up there and tell you I don't shine shoes no more, and I don't drink soda water on a regular basis. It's not good for the liver and the kidneys because you have to constantly battle with all the gas, and it's got to work extra. So if you put too much gas in the system, it's no bueno.
Which we know you have a problem with, then.
Well, I used to think that drinking a lot of soda water pushes out the unnecessary gases in the system. But that was just an old wives' tale. My Italian aunt told me so she can have an excuse to drink as much.
I'm telling you, the Italians. Exactly. This is why. All right.
We have an amazing show today, fam. We're going to get educated on a lot of things. We're going to talk AMLO. We're going to talk Geppetto. We're going to talk about fam's favorite person, Hunter Biden. So these are the shows, and also this Western Sahara story I've been talking about, fam. This Western Sahara story. People better start getting this on the radar. We're going to talk about a natural resource within the whole globe. I don't know if it's a natural resource, but it's a resource of phosphorus. And we're going to talk about that and what that means to fertilizers and the whole 9 yards, fam. But let's get started with your boy AMLO.
Right. So yesterday I was on RT twice. I did basically this live with the anchor there, and we just kind of went over the 5 basic things that were on the table for the discussion, right? And among those things, of course, was immigration, the difference in how they're dealing with the Ukraine-Russia situation. There is also the accusations from the United States that Mexico is killing journalists, to which we all know AMLO responded with on July 4th, saying that if they give Julian Assange the 100 75 years of life prison sentence, essentially, that the Statue of Liberty should be taken down because there's no liberty or freedom. And so that was a very bold statement. Of course, the Biden Democracy Summit of the Americas, which I was at as well. And so then also, in addition to that, is how they're differentiating between the pollution, climate change crisis, where Mexico has nationalized lithium, and that makes it puts it on a different level right now as a substance for Mexicans to be able to use, and for it not to be exploited by multinational corporations and outside forces. So the United States doesn't like that because obviously it affects them. So those were the things that were up on the table, obviously immigration being one of the number ones. And so just as a brief overview, that was what was said. Now, what was actually discussed really focused on Mexico maintaining its sovereignty. We've talked about this a lot when we've gone to Latin America, right? Mexico called on the United States to prioritize its sovereignty. This is from USA Today. More visa options and more, they talked about more things as well, but that was a huge thing. As I mentioned on the RT segment, this is something that people don't really talk about, but Bush Jr. actually was one of the things that he proposed. This is a situation where you have these farm workers, agricultural rural workers that come in to work farms or come in to do whatever work that a lot of people in the United States don't want to do. And what happens basically is that they come in and they make some more money than they would make at home and they send it back, but then they realize they can't come back into Mexico because if they do, they won't be able to come back into the United States because they don't have the visas. So what ends up happening is a lot of these people, mainly men, stay in the United States illegally. They get together and they work as much as they can and they send money back home. So a temporary work visa would solve these issues. This has been an ongoing thing that hasn't been resolved and could easily be resolved just by that alone. So that was one of the things they talked about in their face-to-face bilateral meeting. And from USA Today, Biden and Lopez Obrador held their second in-person meeting at the White House on Tuesday. The items on the agenda were curbing migration, inflation, and the illegal flow of fentanyl into the United States from Mexico. The United States blames Mexico for a lot of that. But of course, we do know that the war on drugs has been U.S.'s doing, the CIA's, the DEA. The DEA was pretty much tackled by AMLO, as has been the Department of Homeland Security, but the DEA specifically. AMLO has felt that the DEA has meddled too much into the United States. He feels like Biden and the United States have been trying to install their own organizations to try to undermine Mexico's sovereignty, which is why the question of sovereignty has been on the radar. So to continue, Lopez Obrador spoke for 30 minutes in the Oval Office. He just kept talking and talking. And he reminded Biden of this very important thing, FDR's good neighbor policy, which avoided interference in domestic affairs in Latin America, while also engaging in reciprocal exchanges with that region, like trade. He reminded him of this kind of as a dig to say that this is differentiating from the current strategy of the United States with Mexico. And of course, all of the Western media has been saying that AMLO just wants to have his cake and eat it too. But that's not necessarily the case. And you guys can see AMLO's face in the slide. He kept talking and talking for the longest time. So why do they meet? This is, of course, a month after the AMLO pretty much just said, I'm not attending the 9th Summit of the Americas, where the reason he didn't attend was because of the exclusion of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, countries that he has become increasingly closer to. And of course, he has called for all of Central and South America to benefit from the nationalization of energy, but he's only been able to nationalize lithium in Mexico. The nationalization of energy failed in Mexico by not a lot, but it did fail. Mexico's leverage. Biden needs Mexican president to stop the influx of migrants. There's been an increase of migrants recently. As we all know, the San Antonio, Texas situation where 53 migrants were found dead in the trailer of a truck, and the majority of them were Mexican. And of course, like I said, temporary visas for jobs beyond agriculture as well, not just agriculture. And Biden praised Lopez Obrador for making more visas available to Central Americans in Mexico, which takes a load off of Central Americans coming into the United States. Kamala Harris, this is something that I don't understand. Remember, Kamala Harris, do not come. Kamala Harris. She was put in charge of addressing root causes of migration from Central America. And she also met with Lopez Obrador on Tuesday morning. Fam, anything to say about that?
Yeah, there's a first thing. We're right off the bat. Just remember that do not come. Do not come. You got to do it like do not come. Yeah. A small country next to a big country. Yeah. Fake laugh. Just remember that when we talk about that. We'll actually talk about that today in another section, kind of hitting that reference. But I also want to piggyback on what you're saying, fam. It's not just about maintaining national sovereignty, right? The authority and the right to govern themselves. That's what a lot of these countries are seeking. And actually some places, they're gaining more sovereignty. You know, the fact that they turned their back on the United States says we're not going to play your sanction game and sanction Russia the way you are. You know what I'm saying? There's been talk of the new G8 that Putin trying to kind of parallel what they're doing over there with all the bojo and all the clowns that spent millions of dollars in a castle right now. You know, and Mexico is thought of joining that G8. That, you know, India, China, Russia, G8. That Brazil, you know, who's showing a lot of guff over there, Bolsonaro, you know what I'm saying? Who Bolsonaro just got to deal with Putin for some more cheap energy. Like, you know, that's what we're talking about his election. It's not going to be a cakewalk. But AMLO has been pulling similar moves like that, too, as well, since he had a referendum several months ago when he realized that the people and the party have his back. The wind is somewhat out of his sails. So I wouldn't use the words puffing up his chest, but he definitely understands that he has the support of the people and the support of his party. And they are actually trying to gain more sovereignty and call a little bit more of their shots rather than the United States Monroe Doctrine style trying to tell them what to do. He had a lot of issues with the IMF when he had his, you know, when he first took over, you know, his 1 6-year term. But there seems to be a lot of wind in his sails, fam. And like you said, the listing situation, the not sanctioning Russia situation, the telling the United States that I'm not going to attend your little summit because you excluded these countries. For him to do those things, it seems like a new dawn, a new day in Mexico, in Latin America. And AMLO, and I can say this as a guy who addresses his country every single morning, you know, he has that mental capacity. I think a lot of people are taking his steps and they're running with it. It's really something great to see, to be honest with you.
It's one of the most important things happening right now in terms of what's going on with Latin America. Another thing that is happening is, as you said, he's kind of going out there and tackling the very important questions that the tensions that he has with the United States, which from a Mexican perspective, it's not about the tensions. It's just about kind of signaling, hey, you're going to back off and we're going to run our country. Like you said, it's a shift away from the Monroe Doctrine. But the media in the West and the United States frame it as, oh, he wants to have his cake and eat it too. Or like this guy, Arturo Sarracan, the former U.S. ambassador to Mexico, said, López Obrador, unfortunately, has realized that he's got a great deal of leverage because of how important the issue of migration is for the United States administration at this stage. Why is it unfortunate that he wants a reciprocal, fair relationship? Why does the relationship have to always be on the side of the West? And so this is how they frame it. In many ways, López Obrador feels like he can have his cake and eat it too. No. It's the United States that wants to have its cake and eat it too. That Mexico just wants the United States to stay in their affairs. So what are they saying to sum it up? We have much agreement, but we'll have a chance to talk about the disagreement. But the thrust of what you were saying, we agree with. We need to work closely. This is what Biden told AMLO. Authenticity of this policy had as its best example respect for the sovereignty of Mexico. This is what AMLO said of the good neighbor policy. He's advocating that Biden follow FDR's good neighbor policy. This policy of respect for the sovereignty of our country, of nations in general, gave us very good fruit, essentially saying you need to step back, allow us to have charge over our country, especially because he's poking the bear so much from the Western perspective. And also talked about the gas prices. Now, this was a direct hit. He said he encouraged Americans near the southern border to go to Mexico to buy gas, bragging. This is notice how they frame it, bragging. He wasn't bragging. He was literally stating a fact, right? Stating the fact that prices are about $1 less than in the United States. He said, we decided that while we're waiting for the prices to go down in the US, we decided that it was necessary for us to allow Americans who live close to the border to go and get their gasoline on the Mexican side at lower prices. Sorry about that.
They're just, the media just drives me crazy. They are so pro-war. They're so geopolitically invested in the empire. This is something that Shanda and I, we've talked about where this fentanyl is coming from. And I was I was lucky enough to be educated by Shanda on how a lot of people, when he talked about our good friend Tom Petty, who thought he was buying painkillers and he said he was getting fentanyl, died. Same thing with Prince. And fentanyl has now really hit the spot. A lot of people saying it's coming from China, which a lot of it's coming from, but a lot now is getting manufactured by the cartels down in Mexico. Now, the thing that really bothers me is that this is an area right here, fam. That area right there, Americans dying from fentanyl, coming from Mexico, will be a way for them to manufacture consent to the American law in which they can strike back on Mexico via sanctions, via special operations. Who knows what's going on? We all know what happened with Commander X. That's something that I don't think AMLO has a lot of control over when it comes to the special forces or the deep state of each country. The intelligence apparatus of the United States and Mexico have worked together for a long time. But they went in there and they grabbed the guy who had immunity of sorts. So, he was there and living in Mexico, and they grabbed him and they pulled him out and they brought him back to the United States. So, I mean, these areas, when they talk about these issues, when it comes to fentanyl and leaving it on the table, I just, my ears perk up and I get a little nervous thinking that they can manufacture consent to do what they need to do. And it will be an excuse used to the public. Look what's going on in fentanyl. I've told AMLO to get his cartel under control. They can't handle it. We'll handle it.
Yeah, and another thing that AMLO has been asked to pay attention to is the Haitian migrants as well. And that's an issue both with Mexico and the United States. Black Agenda Report, I think, did a story on it, an article on it. So he's being asked to really tackle that problem. So we'll see if he comes up to it. But there's a lot that he's been, he's not a Nicaragua Ortega type of guy, but he has been sort of waving that line, now going more radical as his term continues. And just real quick, guys, basically what I said, this journalist, I think Eli Stokos, was reporting on this about how long AMLO was talking and the things he talked about. And then on the second tweet, he said, the awkward part was about the gas thing, right? The gas and Biden, this is what I really wanted to point out. To that, Biden responded that after 31 minutes is saying that the U.S. economic growth is leading the world. What economic growth? Are you kidding me? Everything is tanking. Stock market wise, you have the highest inflation in a long time. His unpopularity, which we're going to talk about in a second, is hilarious. And so that is absolutely, he's just, it's a joke right now.
Damn, if they had a gun to my head, they'd vote for me. If you put a gun to their head, they'd vote for me. 69% said.
Yeah, but we're going to watch this video because it's just ridiculous what he's saying, right? And again, this journalist from Bloomberg, right? She said, Lopez Obrador boasted to the U.S. Like the language he used, boasted. He wants to have. This is not about that. He's simply stating a fact that gas prices in the United States, because he from the beginning said it was a crass error for the United States to sanction Russia. He was against it. He condemned the invasion, is what he did, playing politics. But he did not jump in on the sanctions. And that was a big divisive issue for the United States, that their neighbor, because you see, Mexico can't exactly ignore the United States, but the United States can't exactly ignore Mexico. They're right next to each other. They have long had to find ways to tolerate or cooperate. So this is completely different. And of course, the fuel prices, of course, are being blamed on Putin, but it's like the same thing that's happening in Germany and in Europe. It's a self-demolition. The United States and Europe are doing this to themselves. This doesn't have to be. So let's go ahead and play this. You guys saw it at AM Wake Up. I talked about it a little bit, but let's go ahead and see what else we can say about this clip, because Biden's low poll numbers were a CNN laughing point in this panel.
Yeah. Serious newsman Jake Tapper.
Allison, let me start with you. I want to dive more into these poll numbers from the New York Times and CNN. College, as Caitlin reported, nearly 2/3 of Democratic primary voters
Sam, did you put
want
your
a different
video in
nominee.
there?
2/3. If you break it down by age, 94% of Democratic primary voters under the age of 30, 94% say they don't want Biden. That is a stunning number.
Yes.
He swept his grandchildren, but other than that, I mean, like, 94% don't want him, who are,
94%.
Democrats under the age of 30.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I think young voters often like to see what's out there. You know, they're new to the democracy. They want to understand different candidates. I personally think, you know, if Joe Biden runs again, great. If other people run in the Democratic Party, great. I think that's the test of our democracy, is that have an open field. If you can win, and then go into the general. If Joe Biden's on the top of the ticket in 2024, I will support him. But I think it's fine if there is a contested primary.
So, and Nia Malika, the pollsters also asked about a hypothetical election between Trump and Biden. And Biden edges out Trump by just 3 points, which honestly, that's within the margin of error. And given Donald Trump's tried to stage a coup, et cetera, I mean, he should be outpolling him way more than that. So notice the other voters, though. 10%, 10% say they would vote third party, or they would not vote at all. Now let's look at voters under 30. That number jumps to 29%. Nearly a third of the young electorate will sit it out or go third party.
As I dropped a link into slide 17, but while we're getting that ready and stuff, fam, how about the first? I don't even know who she is. The first
Steve's new crush that he hates.
He said it already. It's like, hey, if Joe Biden's on the top of the ticket, great, I'll vote for him. What's with these people? What's with
young people? Just like to see what's out there, you know?
Yeah.
How dismissive? How dismissive can you be? And by the way, 30, like, we're young, but we're not like, you know, we're not like 12 or 15. Like, like, what the hell? Like, this is ridiculous. It's just like, okay, they're just, these people are out there to you have a certain narrative, and you can tell by the things they say. First of all, the fact that they're putting this out there, that they're allowing this to be out there, that they're allowing the audience to see that they can laugh at Joe Biden and how bad his numbers tells you everything you need to know. That tells you that Joe Biden is no longer the candidate they're counting on, that he's going to be the laughing stock because he's just not performing. He's just not doing well. So they're going to try to put somebody else in. You know, talk is of Pete Buttigieg. There's also what's her name? Who did I say earlier? Pete Buttigieg.
Kamala Harris.
Liz Cheney. Kamala Harris was mentioned. I think Kamala's numbers are, if not the same or worse.
Yeah.
So they're looking at somebody else. I think Buttigieg
what about
is
Warren?
a good Warren. You know, if they were smart, they would put a Warren or a Bernie, because people would fall for that, and they could let them win, right? And then that they would secure all of the progressives, and that's honestly, if I were them, that's what I would do, because I would know that he's not going to be able to do anything anyway, and then it's just going to condemn the left. But they're just not even willing to go there. But it's just funny. So it's hilarious, because they're allowing you to see that Joe Biden is 94% of people under 30, right? Under 30 don't want him, want somebody else. That tells you something. That tells you how bad Joe Biden's doing, fam. And what does he do? He responds in his Joe Biden way.
Yeah. I just don't know if the reporter's name was Jack or he just called him Jack. Check this one out. This is like, if you had a gun to my head, they would vote for me. I know 94% of people under 30 wouldn't vote for me in a primary. 94% wouldn't. But, you know, if we held a gun to their head, fam, they'll vote for me.
Mr. President, what's your message to Democrats who don't want you to run again?
They want me to run.
2/3 say they
Read
don't.
the poll. Read the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same. That poll showed that 92% of Democrats, if I ran, would vote for me.
A majority of Democrats say they don't want you to run again in 2024.
92% said if I did, they'd vote for me.
Mr. President, what's your message to Democrats?
They don't want me to. Fam, if I had to, if they were force-fed, either vote for this guy or else. I mean, you got to mitigate.
Or you get Hitler. But that's going to be the story of vote for whoever, or you get Hitler, or you get Putin. Like they basically, they're going to say that Vladimir Putin is going to come into the United States and take over if you don't vote for Joe Biden. I mean, that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's just hilarious. But I think, obviously we don't have fair elections, guys. And, I guess I have to be careful what I say, but the United States does not have fair elections. They're literally impeding the Green Party from really even running. I mean, if just that alone, if you don't believe everything else, just that alone. And also the January 6th stuff, the FBI essentially admitted by saying we can neither confirm nor deny that the State Department, the government admitted that the FBI was present essentially like the entire time, that they orchestrated the whole thing, as we have been saying from the beginning. So all of this, and it's funny because we're going to talk about coups, because Bolton says he didn't do a coup in the United States. Well, we know who did. And if they can coup the rest of the world, what makes you think they're not going to do that? They're not going to orchestrate the psyops within your own country. If they do it to other countries, which takes a lot more money and a lot more planning and a lot more orchestrating than it does in your own country. Think about that for a second. Then you can go on into the COVID stuff, because then if you know they're doing this all over the world, what makes you trust them in that regard too?
This narcissistic Geppetto that he'll come over there and he has to say, oh no, it takes a genius to plan these coups. I've done this myself. You know what I'm saying? The fucking walrus is back. So let's just dive right into that. We'll hold on to the super raise. We'll get it done after the second one. Guys, do us a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. We have 77 hockey sticks. That's what they call that in Vegas, fam. 77 people hanging over in the Rokfin. We have 255 and climbing on the YouTubes with major suppression, with major shadow banning, and with major demonetization for now over 19 months, going on 20 months. Fam, I was going to answer back to people on YouTube, but I said, why the fuck would I do this again? They're just full of shit. They just throw out this stuff out there to appear like they're fair. We've responded to every single thing they've told us to respond to. They don't give us any information. Unfortunately, our good friends Farron Franzak, she was taken down the other day, demonetized. That is, Jackson Henkel, whether you like him or not, was demonetized the other day. It's not right. It's not going to stop.
It's not going to stop. It's going to get worse. And it's wrong. We should all be against this. It's happening now at an accelerated rate, giving strikes, old strikes, new strikes. They're trying to take us down. So you know what, guys? They just took the Last American Vagabond down on Twitter. Several accounts. Vanessa Beeley was restricted on Twitter and also has been long restricted on YouTube.
Extra day on YouTube, fam. She was day 8, and they're like, "Where's my channel back?" No response.
Yep.
The gray zone, right?
Again? Really? The gray zone. I didn't hear that one. No. Really?
Oz?
Tell us.
Your microphone, buddy.
No, I saw Max posted yesterday that they were going to take him down, and the way I interpret it was they were going to take him permanently down. So maybe I misread it, but if somebody in the chat can verify that.
Take a look, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what's going on.
That's huge. That's absolutely
That is huge. I was kind of wondering why the gray zone hasn't been, because they talk about a lot of the foreign policy stuff. Max is careful not to talk about the COVID stuff. He always puts it on his Rokfin, but guys, this is like, I don't care. This is everybody. They're attacking everybody. And this, Lucky Burritos said, well, could we unionize? Could you YouTube unionize? And I'm like, that's not going to change anything because they're owned by Google. I think it'd be better if independent media unionized.
Yeah.
Because there's no other way.
Lucky Burrito, she got a strike too the other day, right?
Yes.
And they're going to go after these small channels. And it's crazy because what they should have to do is abide by the law. There's rules out there that they're not abiding by the law. Set aside that they have public easements and whatnot. They use satellites, are ground in a contract with the United States. set that aside. The law is that if you want to be a platform and you want to be exempt from litigation, you want to be, have qualified immunity from getting sued, then you cannot pick winners or losers. You cannot be a publisher. They've been a publisher, plain and simple. They're working hand in hand with the United States, guys. This is the government. This is fascism at its finest. And like we said, it's only going to get worse. So we need your help out there. We need you to like, share, and subscribe. All that stuff means the world to us. You guys have kept us going, and you're going to continue to keep us going because we are not going out there and getting any love from any corporations to help us out. So it's all about you guys, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It really is, it's humbling to wake up every day and be able to do this. And Fiend right now in Moscow and me in Vegas, and us continue to go on. Roar Media, Beauty and the Boomer, just getting monetized and them getting taken down, getting a strike right out the bat is just fucking crazy too as well. But that's what they do. They go after the smaller channels, the channels that don't create enough noise just quite yet. And some of the bigger channels that watch what they do, they won't take down Jimmy because he's got almost 1 million. He's got 1 million subscribers. So if they take him down, it's too much noise. But if you got under 150,000, you're well within their striking zone. You get up near that 200,000 range, wait for it. But, and there's shows out there, like, listen, I am not a fan of Status Coup or Status Quo, The Vanguard, The Humanist Report, but I will fight like hell to make sure that they have a chance to say what's on their mind, because that's what you do when you protect speech. You protect the speech that you don't like just as much as the speech you do like.
And this was going to happen a long time ago. This is a long time coming, unfortunately. And this is why we have gone to Rokfin a lot. And we've created a space there because we knew this was coming. And this is coming because what's happening is that independent media, whether you're a citizen journalist, an analyst, or just a YouTuber or, a journalist, what's been happening is we have been telling the truth far better than these goons at CNN, these propagandists, the CIA stooges that they put out there on MSNBC, CNN, even Fox that has a few of those. And so mainstream media has these people that are no longer producing. We saw what happened to the CNN, what was that, Plus or whatever the hell it was. CNN and Plus. It failed. It failed because they suck at it. So what have we been doing? We've been telling the truth. We've been telling that the United States is the empire of lies, that they have been going around the world, cooing sovereign nations, removing democratically elected leaders. And so here we are, finally, John Bolton isn't the first to admit. We're going to talk about McFaul, who also admitted it, but he's told Jake Tapper on CNN, one doesn't have to be brilliant to attempt a coup. Jake Tapper said that, and John Bolton responded with, I disagree with that, as somebody who has helped plan coups, not here, but in other places. It takes a lot of work. So he's patting himself on the back for orchestrating coups. And so this proves all of us, including Julian Assange, who is currently facing 175 years in jail for the crime of publishing documents that expose these war crimes. So they're admitting to this while censoring all of us and going after Julian Assange. And they're doing this because they can get away with it because they're in bed with these same YouTube and owned by Google. They're in bed with these technocratic entities. So here it is, hear it from his mouth, evil Geppetto, Lord John Bolton himself.
The walrus.
Not an attack on our democracy. It's Donald Trump looking out for Donald Trump. It's a once in a lifetime occurrence.
I don't know that I agree with you. To be fair, with all due respect, one doesn't have to be brilliant to attempt a coup.
I disagree with that. As somebody who has helped plan coup d'etat, not here, but other places, it takes a lot of work, and that's not what he did. It was just stumbling around from one idea to another. Ultimately, he did unleash the rioters at the Capitol. As to that, there's no doubt. But not to overthrow the Constitution, to buy more time to throw the matter back to the states to try and redo the issue. And if you don't believe that, you're going to overreact. And I think that's a real risk for the committee, which has done a lot of good work, mostly when the witnesses testify, not when the members are opining. It is invariably the case that when you go too far trying to prove your case, you undermine it. And I think you got to give credit to the intelligence.
Oh, you missed it. The intelligence of the American people, he said.
Oh, yes.
And I don't give a shit how often you hold the pen just because you feel like it makes you look smarter. Like, look at me. I'm a tough guy with a pen. And I'm talking, so you need to listen to me because I have a pen. That guy is so full of shit. What a narcissist he is. This should show you, oh, no, it's, it takes a lot of brains to organize these coups, fam. You got to find the right drone to try and whack Maduro and whatnot. And, I mean, the guy's been a war hawk for so long, and he's still pissed off that Donald Trump fired him. The whole mentality, oh, no, he's just from moment to moment, what's going on. And this committee's done amazing work. This committee has been a joke. I said it this morning on the show. If Gordon Dimmick was here, he said, don't call that a kangaroo court because it's an insult to kangaroos. This thing is a friggin' joke. There are no rules in this hearing. You could take a guy who knew something about another guy, who knew something about a gal, who knew something about another guy that saw something, and you can put that on the witness stand for that person to tell the story like their star witness who heard from a person from another person that Donald Trump tried to take the wheel of the limo from the Secret Service.
And they admitted Ted Cruz. Was it Ted Cruz? I think it was Ted Cruz. Or no, Ruby. It was one of them. They're interchangeable to me. I think it was Ted Cruz who was questioning, and they were like, "Oh, we can't answer that, sir. Oh, but can you say if the FBI was present? Oh, we can't answer that." I mean, they've admitted the FBI orchestrated this whole thing aside, but he has to keep bringing up Donald Trump's name even now when Joe Biden's administration is literally sinking. And so, of course, him admitting this is a big deal because this is Pandora's box opening up, because now they're saying, oh, yes, I helped orchestrate these coups d'etats. And okay, what are we talking about here then when he was in office? Okay, so we're talking about the failed Venezuelan attempted coup, where they're still right now at this moment recognizing Juan Guaido as the legitimate president, the interim president, the real president, while going to Maduro and trying to get some deals on oil. And it's hilarious that they're still doing that, but that was a failed coup attempt. You could talk about what else? The Bolivian coup as well, the U.S.-backed Bolivian coup. You could talk about a plethora of other things, and now, of course, there's the Imran Khan situation is coming up. There's so many things that you can talk about, but we can go back to, of course, 2014, the Maidan coup with Victoria Nuland and Jeffrey Pyatt. So everything that he's saying, pretty much legitimizes the things we have been saying, and other journalists and Julian Assange has been saying for a long time. So this isn't the first time somebody admits it, though, but it's a big deal for, I think, a lot of people. It's funny, on CNN that may not have grasped this concept. Hello, this is what we've been talking about for ages.
Yeah, I shared a tweet from Johnny the other day too, as well, which we'll show after this video too. But the Iraq War, Bolton, how influential he was. Yes. In that situation. He pushing from the bleachers. This guy goes all the way back to Reagan. He's just, there is not a war that's out there. And I've always considered him to be one of the most dangerous, John Bolton, because he's the smartest and the most craftiest. You know what I'm saying? He's much better than, like, let's say Bill Kristol, who had a debate with Scott Horton and was sweating like Bobby Brown doing the interview about crack. Like, I smoke crack. Like, that's what Bill Kristol was doing. The Walrus isn't like that. He's always, to me, been one of the most smartest, craftiest guy out there. So when he said this, and I don't think he realized that this is a big fucking slip, because it is a big slip, because a lot of people are talking about it, fam. Yeah. He opened up Pandora's box. And I think a lot of people have to realize this when it comes to the foreign policy, the United States. This is their foreign policy. They openly plan coups and go in there and change governments at the behest of the corporations that are going to make money through resource extraction and austerity measures. End of story. You're being played.
And Oz, if you just want to actually go to just show Johnny's tweet, because it's about this this thing. As somebody who helped 23.
23. I just threw it in there. I'm so sorry. I'm making Oz, yeehaw, cowboy. But I just wanted to share Johnny's tweet here because it was fire. He says, as somebody who has helped plan coups, not here, but other places, and that's what the Walrus said. And Johnny put, openly admitting to coupping, murder, and war crimes. And that's what it is. these coups aren't something simple, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of people are like, well, sometimes sanctions are good, fam. It's necessary. Sometimes we got to remove these dictators. No, you're openly admitting to murder and war crimes. That's how much blood is on Bolton's hand, and he just confessed to it.
While calling other regimes, other countries' regimes, while saying that Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba are authoritarian, autocratic, tyrannical countries. Hello, what do you call what you're doing? You're trying to have control over everything, and that's where we're at right now. The United States is getting exposed, which is why they're censoring all of us. This is all connected. They're getting exposed. They have to censor those who are doing the exposing, especially with this Ukraine Russia conflict. Now, this isn't the first time, like I said, we got McFaul here, former Russian ambassador Michael McFaul.
I know.
Who admitted this. This is just a reminder. I believe we played this before, maybe at some point.
Yeah, we did. We did. This is just juicy.
I wanted to answer Mike's question and then pose one to the two of you. To answer my question, legitimate security interests, I believe the number one issue is, of course, the neutrality of Ukraine, and the other things would have to be negotiated. So Steve, just let me.
Can we converse, or do we?
We can converse if I can finish the sentence.
Okay, all right. I was told. I'm paying attention to the Canadian rules. I was told we're supposed to interrupt. I was told that. I was told that by your judge. I'm going to get him on the stage. I'm just paying attention to the rules here,
I was told to just have a lively conversation, but never mind. So I think that's the first step. And there's obvious reasons why the Russians want this guaranteed by the United States. Rada keeps saying that this was impossible, it's never going to happen, it was off the table.
You have already guaranteed Ukraine's security.
You're picking
in
up
the Budapest Memorandum of 1994.
You were picking up Mike's habits. All right. In 2021, we kept reiterating that Ukraine was going to join. We kept saying that over and over again. So our diplomats are lying?
Yes. Yes, that's the real world, guys. Come on, come on.
But you can.
That's the real world.
Wait a second. Our diplomats are lying all the time. Yet the Russians should trust them when they offer assurances.
No.
And we shouldn't.
Please.
No. But here's my question. If Ukraine membership in NATO is really, realistically off the table, just not going to happen, nothing for Russia to worry about, why shouldn't NATO take it back? Say, we've rethought the matter. We no longer want to consider Ukraine for NATO membership. If it's never going to happen, why not do a very simple thing that might help unwind this?
Because that would be an invitation for Russia to invade. And as you know, Russia,
that's already happened.
The United States.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses.
And people applauded, by the way, fam. And that was at the Nixon Library, I believe, over in California, whatnot. But it's just like ridiculous because that is the mindset. And I think that there's something dangerous about this, fam, that they make this more out in the open. It makes it even more acceptable than it already is. Let's be honest, because you talk about a lot of the conservatives out there who are now kind of try to play like the anti-war, the peace position compared to what the Democrats and Joe Biden are doing. We understand that they are okay with a lot of wars. They were okay with it when it came to Saddam Hussein, whatnot like that. And this rhetoric is sometimes just over accepted in my mind, rather than the pushback that needs to happen from the public.
Yeah, and I don't think the public really understand. I mean, a lot of the time, some of the public knows this, but it's too much for them to process. And I'm not excusing it entirely, but at the same time, it's like, imagine finally coming to the realization your government is just a piece of shit that's full of psychopaths that run it, and they don't care about you, and they're killing people all over the world, and they're admitting and they're laughing about it, and they're telling you what they're doing because they can tell you, because people will ignore that and be like, well, we have to protect American security. And that's what it's always been. It's always been like that. I mean, they're laughing about this. They're laughing about the fact that they manipulate, they lie, that they do this all the time. And this is an admission, and these admissions have happened throughout time. but people haven't done anything because they, if they're not aware, they're just so focused on something else, or they don't want to believe that their government is doing this when there's so much like rhetoric that this is the best country in the world, that you have freedoms and liberties and blah, blah, blah. And that's both on the liberal end, that we are a democracy, and on the conservative end, that we are this republic and you got the Constitution. Well, neither of those things are true for either of those people on the side of the aisle. So yeah, just an eye opener.
It just drives me crazy because where I stand on all this stuff. The other day, by the way, I was on the Union of the Unwanted, and somebody was talking about something being like a communist, dream and whatnot. And I'm like, I wanted to just stop the person because the person was saying so many great things. But then when they get to this whole communism, socialism is hiding under the bed to come get you kind of mentality, I'm like, dude, you live in a capitalist system, in a capitalist society. And we're here on a platform because we've been deplatformed and demonetized and censored in your capitalist country, guys. What the hell is wrong with you guys? And I'm not even there advocating for communism, but yet, yeah.
I'm gonna turn it into a commie, guys. Okay. So moving along, Sam, you want to read the Super Race?
Let's read some Super Race because we have a great section coming up next. And we will get rolling on that. But that is Evil Geppetto. That is the AMLO sections, guys. Do us that favor, like, share, subscribe. You know what to do. David Guevara, thank you so much for the Super 8 contribution. As always appreciated on the couch. Noah K, thank you so much for the Super 8 contribution. Mad Wolf, how about the farting hunter? Ugh, a lot of wind coming out of the out of that crack. No pun intended for the crack. And Jim Garrison, a 5-spot for fee and pasta. Jim Garrison, who took on the state and tried to charge Clay Barker with the death of John F. Kennedy. Thank you, Jim Garrison. You are always appreciated here on the Convo Couch. 315 people hanging out on the YouTubes. We love you, fam. They're putting up hammer and sickle signs in the YouTube chat. 92 people hanging out on the Rokfins, guys. Thank you so much. You guys know what to do.
Fam, that is such a great point, though. We are literally living well, you guys, I'm not living there right now. You guys are literally living in a very, the epitome of capitalism. By the way, Russia's a capitalist country too. It's not, people are trying to argue with me. No, it's economy. There are things. There are more social safety nets though. They all get healthcare. All Russians get healthcare. We don't have that in the United States. I mean, it's a joke, but I say, Putin gave me healthcare before the Americans did. So it's but I mean, how can you say it's communism when literally it's capitalism, and when capitalism hits, imperialism, and now we're going into fascism. We're going into a very authoritarian, I don't want to say full on fascism because we're not there yet, but trust me, we're well on our way. Towards
when does capitalism not turn into a fascist state? If capital is going to control your market, right? It's all about capital. Then that capital is going to buy all your entities because everything's for sale, including your government. So at what point are we going to see capitalism not turn into fascism? It's going to happen because they're going to merge with the state, that is the corporations, because they're going to be the most powerful. They're going to have the most capital to buy your media, to buy all your advertising, to control your markets, to lobby the government, to make regulations, to push small companies out. They'll do everything they got to do. In every single situation, capitalism will turn to fascism. I have not seen it not happen. And I know people are starting, what about this and that and stuff? And they're like, they always point to communism when they should be pointing to authoritarianism, which the problem is what? The elites ruling thing. Any type of system you have, the elites can rule it and can find a way to manipulate and take money away.
It's human nature. Power corrupts. That's the thing. That's why you shouldn't have too much centralized power, in my opinion, in the hands of any centralized power is eventually going to be corrupted because that's just how it works. Human nature. We're not there yet.
By the way, Arthur Carter came in, fam, dropped a nickel. You know what a nickel is? It's a 5-spot.
Yes, fine. I know.
I only watch the Convo Couch on Rokfin. We all appreciate everything you do. Arthur, thank you so much. And thank you guys. Somebody the other day left a little few bucks of cheese in the Give, Send, Go /support the Convo Couch. We will be firing that puppy back up when we
For
get
Brazil,
as Brazil is getting a little more complicated. I said this months ago when I was talking to my good friend Robin Gibson. We were talking about the election system. She lived there for many years. And that's why she got into election integrity. Everybody thinks that it's going to be a cakewalk for Lula. It is not. It is not. And now here
I still think he has overwhelming support, though. I still think he has way more support.
I think so
we're going to fight it out.
But Bolsonaro just went to Putin and cut a deal for lower priced energy. That is going to mean a lot when it comes to the voters. His way of telling the WHO to go scratch. And it's interesting because now he's hanging out with the BRICS, right? Now, India, China, Russia, he's hanging out with these people. It's the imperialist apparatus of the United States. The State Department helped put Lula in prison so Bolsonaro could win. It's crazy business right now. What's going on out there, fam? Things are going to blow. So we got to pay close attention. We got to get down to Brazil and check it out. So that's that.
So this is not my favorite hunter.
Fam, do not try to deny
Hunter
it.
Carranza. What?
Oh, Hunter Carranza is your favorite hunter, but we know you love.
Yes.
Hunter's your favorite Biden. We know that.
Fam, no. Geez, I don't have a favorite Biden. So yes. So fam, Joe Biden's policies locked up people for years, but not Hunter.
You didn't change the title.
No,
because
I didn't get a chance.
Well, but that's the thing. This is the guy who authored the crime bill. This is the guy who took mainly friggin' minorities and threw them in fucking prison at a high rate. This is the guy who says, I'm going to do this. I'm the guy. So they won't come after your mother, my cousin, his aunt, Oz's uncle, all that bullshit. Somebody made this beautiful, little, I don't know what you call it, a meme of sorts or a little video, but it shows as he's out
montage.
There, this great montage. He's out there. He's pushing these policies within our government, and yet his son, the law is for thee, but not for me, fam, or my family.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, $1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Under our forfeiture statutes, the government can take everything you own, everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely what they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you've just got caught engaging in. They can take everything. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society. They are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street.
So somebody should go arrest his son, fam, right? And by the way, of course, and this is the reason why this one, circus. What happened was 4chan, and this is something that Shanda talked to, she alluded to earlier in the show. We're not talking about the fact that 4chan was able to kind of go in there and hack his iCloud. That's an issue right there, because that means that all our shit is as out in the open, can be grabbed at any time. And we know this too as well. We've been talking about, all right, this is a situation. You can't use certain services because it's too much information's being shared. They got everything anyways, right? But that's another issue. But the reason why what happened with 4chan and what they did was they pretty much just showed more of the same of this over here, how Joe Biden is out there making policies which lock people up for years, ruin people's fucking lives. Because you can understand the police department started using their whole, this whole crack pandemic or epidemic or whatever you want to call it as a way to just lock people up to get themselves promoted, put more bad guys behind jail. If the United States Congress is saying that they have this crack and you can lock them up, put them in jail. That's what most of these drops just showed right over here, that the rules are for thee, but not for me or my family. And Hunter Biden, who just abused crack, cocaine, hookers, the whole 9 yards. A lot of links to showing he's a pedophile. They released this other video over here because people were out there right in the beginning saying, "Oh, he was just smoking marijuana, fam. He was just smoking marijuana." Okay, let's take a look at what he's weighing over here in this next video. And I assure you, this is not marijuana.
No, I just weighed out the bag. It's 2.06.
2.07 without the bag.
So how long is
2.0?
2.0. That's all the crack you got for tonight? What's wrong with you, fam?
I mean, is that not a lot? I mean, I'm not. I'm not an expert here.
I don't know and stuff, but Joe Biden made laws, sponsored bills specifically for this drug right here that his freeloading piece of crap son is shooting up, smoking, hitting up. I mean, fam.
Mm-hmm. Imagine if this was one of Donald Trump's sons.
Forget about it.
Or like Vladimir Putin's kid or something. You know, it just goes to show you, like, why are they so silent? They're all ignoring it. And it is hilarious. It's a height of hypocrisy. The United States and the world, if you look up the word hypocrisy, you'll find the United States. Biden. A picture of Joe Biden, a picture of all of these people. I mean, it's just hilarious. So, God, the crime bill, right? Yeah. I mean, there are people that are in prison right now for marijuana still.
Yeah.
And you still have the U.S. making a huge deal about the Britney story, right? Not saying it's right to lock her up for 5 years. A lot of people are against that here. But I kept getting asked, "Oh, what about this story, Fiorella? Are you going to cover it?" It's like, well, my issue is it's being politicized to say Russia's so authoritarian. Well, first of all, she shouldn't have brought marijuana to a foreign country where it's illegal. She shouldn't have done that. She could have waited because there are people that sell it here illegally. And that's just common knowledge. She should have not done that. You can't go into another country and do that. But, then you have this girl, they're politicizing the situation on both ends of the spectrum. Both countries are. And so then you see Hunter Biden and it's crack, right? And you have the United States where poor people, a lot of people of color are behind bars for far less than this. And yet, of course, Hunter Biden gets away with it. Yeah. Right. It's ridiculous. So who's really the country that's authoritarian and that punishes people? Oh, as long as they're nobody important and their daddy isn't the president of the United States.
Yeah. And, it was part of his little crew and his cronies that brought this shit to the United States. We all know we've talked about it, Shanna, about Freeway Rick Ross and all the way they brought this, I'm saying, to fund wars. They took cocaine, flew it out of Colombia, cut it with crack, brought it to the United States. New York, you got, I don't know who was in New York, but in California, we know it was Freeway Rick Ross. I believe it was Nino Brown from the movie New Jack City. Just kidding, in New York. But they hit this shit on the streets and they made laws that said crack cocaine gave you twice as much time than if you got caught with cocaine. Now, cocaine was known for being more affluent in the clubs and people doing disco and hitting it up. And then on the streets, people of color were getting stuck in, it just hit their whole community and ruined their whole community, ruined people's lives. And then with also the crime bill, pulled away. One of the things I mentioned about it more than anything is it pulled away grants and programs that prisoners were using to get a welding degree or a mechanics degree. Well, when the crime bill was passed and all that, if you get caught with this 5 years, judge can't do a thing, you know what I'm saying, kind of mentality, they pulled away these grants from people who are going to get out and try to make something with their lives and whatnot. Almost instantaneously, he did this, which just spelt doom for a lot of people when they went back out to end up going right back in. And, Joe Biden was just a piece of shit while his son was doing that. Now, listen, fam, I don't play team sports, but there is one party that we're trying to get on the map over, and I don't want to say we, but they're trying to get on the map. Third party, we need more than anything. And this party has always been anti-drugs, one to stop the drug war for a long, long time. It's the Libertarian Party. The Hunter Biden leaks prove what we've been saying the whole time. The regime's drug warriors have separate rules for us and them. For all their rhetoric, they don't care one iota about equality under the law. Sorry, fam. Libertarian Party has been saying, let's end this war on drugs for a long time. I got to put it out there because they've been saying it, and they've been like, look what's going on. Not only is this war costing you millions of dollars, and it's a fugazi war anyways, and the CIA is the people making the most on it, they don't give a shit. And there's different rules for them than there are for you under the eyes of the law.
Yeah. And guess what, libertarians? That's capitalism.
It's elitism.
Love ya.
But so we have the crack. We have the, there was a lot more pictures of Hunter, on the beach, throwing his pants down, jumping in the ocean. Him shooting up crack cocaine with a bunch of prostitutes, him in the bathtub. But there was also something that also came out, this leaked voicemail, fam, that just came out recently, whatnot. Remember the whole time when they were saying that Joe Biden knew nothing of his son's shady business deals and whatnot? Well, this leaked voicemail proves a different point. Let's take a listen to it, and we'll get your opinions after.
Hey, pals, Dad, it's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think it's clear. And anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. I love you.
I think you're clear, man. I think you're clear. Give me a call in the morning. I love you.
I think you're clear.
I think you're clear.
I think Daddy fixed this for you.
I don't know anything, but I think you're clear. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But you're clear.
I mean, okay, you talk about nepotism in other parts of the world in supposed developing countries and stuff. Is this not like covering for your son, using your power to really, I don't know what other proof you need, guys. I mean, these people are all hypocrites. You want to talk about Donald Trump? Let's talk about this for a second. Sure. You can talk about Donald Trump all you want, but look at this, and I do believe somebody put on Twitter, this is a distraction because yes, it's Joe Biden. I am a firm believer that this Hunter Biden story is out because it hurts Joe Biden and they don't care about hurting Joe Biden because Joe Biden's numbers are tanked. So again, I don't think Joe Biden is going to be their go-to nominee because this is all like just, okay, there's too much with him now. Let's get rid of him, put somebody else that has a better image, because the Democratic Party, the establishment, is all about image. They're all about public relations and perception. So once the perception is tainted beyond repair, there's only so much repair that you can do. There's only so much, crisis management is the term in PR that you can do. And I don't think that they're going to be able to get out of this one.
Well, I just want to say, number one, that I don't think it's a distraction. I think this speaks to the core of what's going on. That the fact that we have these group of elitists that run around and do whatever they want, and the laws, anything. It's not just. I think a lot of not just Republicans are there. I think there's a lot of independents and Democrats are now like, okay, this is just out of hand with this fucking guy. Like, he is the son of the president, and to think that he would have these business deals without his dad is fucking stupid and naive. And secondly, his dad's putting out all these laws that restrict our civil liberties, that really hurt minorities when it comes to their jail time and helping the military industrial complex. But yet the laws for his children, they're there. And also, fam, I think they take it for granted. You heard Jake Tapper, serious news guy, what he said in the last one. He says, you would think that Donald Trump's numbers would be lower against Joe Biden. Like, hello, every single time you turn around, Joe is fucking falling on his face.
Yeah, but they don't believe that. I don't even think they believe that, Pasta. I think they have to say that.
They're ridiculous.
Yeah, they are cocky. Yeah. I mean, I know I don't mean a distraction in the sense it doesn't do anything. I just mean like they're allowing the story to get out, and they're not pushing back as much on it because Joe Biden is a lost cause. I think.
Well, I mean, they are quite so hard for so long, fam. How much more? I mean, this is like an avalanche. There's only so long you can, the guy holds his back against the doors so the doors don't open up. There's only so much longer that you can hold those doors before all this shit comes flying in through the doors. I mean, this has been one thing after. We've said this for so long. Like Joe Biden, holy shit. Like when he was starting to win, what did I say? I said, this guy is the only choice that is a clear worse choice than Trump is Joe Biden. And this is the guy they're putting forth. There's so much baggage with Joe Biden. What we do know, what we don't know. I mean, how long can you stop the avalanche of shit? If there was ever a time, fam, where I think a lot of people in the administration were going, damn, I wish we had Psaki back. I wish Psaki was in that room today, because after that voice got released, here's Steve's good friend, aka trying to, I don't know what this is, trying to bullshit your way out of something that it's almost impossible to bullshit out of. Here's the press secretary when confronted about the leak of the voicemail.
Why is there a voicemail of the president talking to his son about his overseas business dealings if the president has said he's never spoken to his son about his overseas business dealings?
Well, first I'll say that what the president said stands. So if that's what the president said, that is what stands. And secondly,
about a New York Times article concerning Hunter Biden's business dealings, and he says, "I think you're clear." How is that not him talking to his son about his overseas business dealings?
We're not, from this podium, I am not going to talk about alleged materials from the laptop.
So are you disputing the president's voice on the voicemail?
I am not going to talk about alleged materials on the laptop.
It's
not happening.
Then that it is not?
Peter, I refer you to his son's representative.
So you can't fix it, or Steve, you can't fix it.
Say it again. No.
Steve, you can't fix that. You can't fix her. I'm sorry, Steve. But really, what she said, I mean, that's her job, guys. That's her job. She's not there to tell you the truth about what's really going on. She's there to do PR, make sure that everything that needs to be said is said to cover for Biden's ass. And that's it. Like, that's her job. Good job.
One of the other drops that came out that was interesting, and I don't know what to make of it because it's just a little small piece. You have Hunter Biden talking about a payment of $10,000 and talking about something where he seems like to be walking back a possible incident that could have happened with this particular Tinder date. I don't know. You tell me. I don't know.
Sweetheart? Hey, are you okay? Everything fine? Are you hurt in any way?
Okay.
Any way? Are you hurt? Hey, is anything hurt on you? Anything? I was literally saying, I'm sorry that it took so long to give you $10,000. Do you have any bruise? Anything? Have I ever touched you in a bad way? Ever? Have I asked you every time if I could touch you? Every time. Sweetheart, look at me. You cannot talk to me that way and say things like that. Because I'm more respectful than anyone you've ever met. Are you okay? What?
Jack.
It would have been great if you said that.
Yeah.
No.
I thought you said you wanted water. It's the only water I have.
All right, fam. This is why, like, I'm more respectful than any man you ever met. That's why I have the
Jack.
Another thing. I wish you would have said Jack. Right below it, dude. I mean,
like father, like son, right? I mean,
oh my God. I mean, I'm more respectful than any man you ever met. Let's show a picture of him in some of the respect. Do you want to show? Do you want to say something before?
Yeah. Joe Biden talks like that to people. Just the way his son just spoke to her. If you have seen the way Joe Biden has addressed people who disagree with him, has addressed women, has addressed men, like who are, what did he called someone fat, remember? Come on, fat.
You're lying.
It's the same
soldier
way. What makes you think Hunter Biden is going to be, unfortunately, any better? I mean, it's just, anyway.
Fam, he said, I'm more respectful than anybody you ever met. I want to show you some of the respect over here. This is a nice tweet that somebody dropped. Here's a picture. This is urgent. 4chan, Hunter Biden, right? This photo of Hunter Biden on a FaceTime call with a girl tied up and a bag over her head as he eats a sandwich should give you an idea of the magnitude. I'm more respectful than anybody ever met. I'm going to have a FaceTime call with somebody while there's a bag over your head and I got you in handcuffs. I just want to know she's got a muzzle on or a gag ball in her mouth too as well. So she probably couldn't even say anything as dude is just fucking showing off, eating an Italian sandwich over here. That's good semolina bread, fam, right there. Look at that.
Fam, I cannot even start to comment on that.
She's got a bag over her head and she's in handcuffs.
So bad. Yeah, I mean, unless she wanted to do that. I mean, we don't know.
I'm sure she didn't want to be on a FaceTime fucking call. I mean, that's just... I maybe she did. I don't know.
We don't know, but that's, yeah.
FEC.
Washington Examiner.
Yeah. FEC says Twitter acted legally in blocking Hunter Biden's laptop stories. Now, this is the crux of the story today. Did they have the right to do and go ahead and block these things? Because it wasn't just independent media. There was a lot of people getting the platform taken down, demonetized just for sharing these Hunter Biden laptop information. But it even got into the big boys where the New York Post couldn't do it. Well, the FEC said they had the right to do it. Let's take a look. The Federal Election Commission said on Wednesday its members unanimously rejected complaints from the Republican National Committee and others that Twitter's decision to block the sharing of links to articles from the New York Post related to Hunter Biden's laptop constituted an illegal contribution to now President Joe Biden's candidacy. Bullshit. You have the next slide, Odds? I'm reading the paragraph 39. The second paragraph, in announcing the decision, the FCC pointed to Twitter's assertion that part of the reason it stopped the spread of the New York Post articles in October was over concerns that foreign actors obtained the salacious materials through hacking. The social media giant claimed the U.S. intelligence community was warning about such an effort in the lead up to the 2020 election. No evidence has emerged that Hunter Biden's laptop story stemmed from a foreign hacking operation. Fam, they're still doing it again. They're using these bullshit excuses. They're using rumors, scuttlebutt to justify censorship in America.
Yeah. I mean, again, we get censored for telling the truth and they censor the truth from coming out. And it's that simple.
Yeah.
And they can do that because they're in bed with these companies because this is the merger of corporations with government and you're living it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And, when it comes to censorship, when it comes to propaganda, the CIA's been doing this for a long, long time. Operation Mockingbird, where they planted their own members from the CIA within all aspects of the media. Well, nowadays, you don't even have to do that. Jimmy Dore shared a tweet yesterday about a CIA agent, an ex-CIA agent running for Congress. Now they're just openly, you got guys like Brennan and Clapper who get to go on the show, and you got cucks like this right here. Chris Hayes, you want to know how a lot of this shit is justified? Because the deep state, the imperialists, the oligarchs, they control media. They control the propaganda. Look what this cuck says right over here, how he justifies this shit from Hunter Biden. There's three main areas, and once again, the dude who shared this, I will post this clip of Chris Hayes absolutely destroying the sad GOP deflection. No, it's not. It's not a deflection. It's oligarchy running rampant at the highest level it's ever run. Take a look.
There's a a few things about the Hunter Biden-Burisma thing that really bother me. First of all, I think it's fair to say that as an ethical matter or a prudential matter, if Ori Melber was solicited by Hunter Biden at that moment to say, should I take this gig? You'd probably say, no, don't do it. I'd say, no, don't do it. I don't think it was the right thing to do. But he's a grown-ass man, okay? And you do not control the actions of your adult children. And if Joe Biden could control the actions of his adult son, Hunter Biden, there's lots of things I think that he would have Hunter Biden do differently than things that he has done. That does not pertain to Joe Biden, first of all. Second of all, he's an American citizen, and this is the America First presidency. We do not sick foreign systems of justice on American citizens. We do not do it. It is a violation of the fundamental oath of office of the president to protect American citizens. We do not have the Chinese go after Americans, and we do not sick the Ukrainians. We have an American system of justice. If there is an actual predicate for some sort of investigation, there are processes by which that is pursued. We simply do not pursue it in the way we do. And the third thing about this, and the sort of crowning disingenuousness, and I think, Senator, you'll join me on this, forgive me if I'm misrecollecting this. I think Republicans had a majority of both houses in 2015, and I think they conducted zealous oversight of many issues, including Benghazi. How many hearings were there on Burisma? 0. How many in the House? 0. How many in the Senate? 0. How many senators raised the objection at the time it was happening that Joe Biden was doing something corrupt? 0. That's the ballgame. If it was an actual good faith effort by the Republicans, who certainly were no shrinking violets about corruption or misdeeds by the Obama administration, they would have said something at the time, and they didn't. And that's how you know the entire thing has been retroactively reverse engineered solely for political purposes.
Okay, fam. There's 3 things he hit on there right now that just burn my friggin' ass. And just like the whole kind of praising of, oh my God, Chris Hayes, I'm going to play this and stuff like that. I'm like, what world are you living into? What argument are you listening to? Hunter is a grown ass man. That was the first one. Like this idea that Hunter Biden, everything he does is independent of his father. Like he didn't use his father's power and his father's position to upscale his position, to lift him up, to get him these deals. 90% of these deals that Hunter got himself involved in wouldn't have happened if Joe Biden wasn't who Joe Biden is. The senator, the congressman, the vice president, and now the fucking president. So it's just mind-boggling, fam. And I don't know if you have anything to say about this whole thing, that this fact that Hunter is a grown-ass man. He acted independently of his father. This is ridiculous that you can't stick what his son does on his father. And I agree in certain ways where the sins of a father shouldn't go on the sins of the children. But to act like these guys didn't operate together, the big man, I think you're clear. All the shit we know they've been working together. Hunter has never been involved in oil in his whole life. He wouldn't have got a job on the Burisma board if it wasn't for daddy. So this whole freaking thing that he's an independent man just really burns my ass, fam.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
Okay. Second one. Here we go again. Anytime you're in trouble, anytime, it's like that meme with the Democrats doing shit, opening their mouths, their own policy, they're losing people, but then they take the stick and they put it into the spoke of the bike and they fall down and they go, oh, Russia, oh, China, oh, fam, we don't do this. We don't sick foreign entities on our own people over here. Just because you're a Republican and they're a Democrat, we don't sick foreign entities. We don't do that here. There has been zero proof. Just like 4 years that you've been peddling this Russiagate propaganda, there is zero proof that anything from the Hunter Biden laptop came from foreign entities, that was pushed from foreign entities. And if they did, guess what? That was still Hunter Biden doing that shit. It's just like when they talk about the whole WikiLeaks thing and somebody put up a tweet says, I don't give a shit if Vladimir Putin scaled down the walls, MI6 style, and stole those emails. He didn't write them. He didn't write them. We know who wrote them. So you can't fucking ignore that. That is Hunter Biden. This is Hunter Biden's actions, and you can't get away with it. Even if you try to say, oh, it was China or it was Russia, fam.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but this is Chris Hayes' job, right?
Yeah.
It's Chris Hayes' job to be a stooge.
Yeah. Well, the third one, to say, well, if it was serious, fam, how come it didn't come up on the House floor when it was happening? How come blah, blah, blah? How come anything? How come we always have the controlled release of information when it's too late, when the public gets too much wind of it? And let's also not forget that this is professional wrestling. The Republicans and the Democrats are acting together. It's not going to go on the House floor unless any top-ranking Republican officials like a McCarthy or a Mitch McConnell or Lindsey Graham bring it to fruition. And guess what? They're working together with the establishment Democrats. They have been for years. So they're only saying stuff when there's a mass push by the voter base of the Republicans, which drives me crazy that the Republicans, these young Republicans, are trying to go in there and fix the party from the inside, fam, to try to win through elections. When we talk about the Green Party guy not making it on the ballot, well, that happened with the Republicans in Michigan, where the Republican committee, the establishment Republicans, threw 4 Republicans off the ballot. They're doing the same thing. The establishment is the establishment. So to act like the reason why they didn't bring this up in Congress while it was happening is a reason why this is a falsehood. It's just another thing that's completely mind-boggling. And that's the 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out, Chris Hayes.
Damn.
It's infuriating. Do you have anything to say before we get to the last 2 videos, fam?
No, we should. Yeah.
Okay, so the last 2 is we have Mayorkas. This is getting back to what this is all about. The fact that they use rumors about foreign entities, the fact that they were able to suppress information, the fact that they were going to put this woman, Nina Jankowicz, which, by the way, are you blocked by Nina Jankowicz?
Yes, I am.
So am I. I've never interacted with the woman once, and I'm blocked by Nina Jankowicz. Well, here it is. Once again, she specifically went online and told people that it was a falsehood, that the Hunter Biden information is legitimate. Take a look. This is Mayorkas when he's getting questioned by the Senate.
Who at the department?
Senator, we don't discuss our internal hiring processes, but I am the Secretary of Homeland Security, and ultimately I am responsible.
When the department picked her, did it know that she had said that Mr. Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation?
Senator, let me repeat myself and add one other fact. I was not aware of that. We do not discuss the internal hiring process. Ultimately, as the Secretary, I'm responsible for the decisions of the Department of Homeland Security.
When the department picked Ms. Jankowicz, did it know that she had vouched for the veracity of the Steele dossier?
Senator, let me repeat myself and add an additional fact. 1, we do not discuss internal hiring processes. 2, I was not aware of that fact. 3, as the Secretary of Homeland Security, I am responsible for the decisions of the department. And 4, it is my understanding that Ms. Jankowicz is a subject matter expert in the field in which she will be working on behalf of the department.
Yeah, I can tell.
I mean, he just repeats the lie, right? In the subject matter, she's an expert. Dude, he just said to you, okay, that she went out there and said the Hunter Biden laptop is Russian disinformation. We all know it's not. We all know, we see the pictures it's coming from. This is once again showing you that the ruling class, oligarchy, whatever they say is truth versus a lie. Not what it's supposed to be, which is you or I. We're supposed to decide what's the truth and what the lie is. This is the United States of America, freedom of speech, freedom of the press. But no, they can continue to repeat the lie and they'll get promoted from it. And he says that she's a subject matter expert on it. Something like the Steele dossier, which they've shown, which was created, fam, pretty much of some guy drinking at a bar one night, piss drunk off his ass, talking about stupid bullshit and lies, is what they sell as solid information. And people like Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow and Lawrence O'Donnell and all these other idiots use that Steele dossier as complete fodder every single fucking night, fam.
Because they can. And people believe it.
Wow. This shit gets me fired up, ladies and gentlemen. I am sorry because we are sitting here, we are demonetizing a lot of things that they suspended us for or demonetized us for years ago, which they said was misinformation, is now just truth nowadays. It's known. It's like, oh, my bad. Well, why don't you reinstate us? Why don't you fucking reimburse us for all the money we lost? You were wrong, but no, they're not doing that.
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Thousands. Finish up the section, fam. I wanted to bring this because Shanda was here today, and this is one of her favorite Biggie Small songs, right? And, so let's roll this baby here. This is just a piece of work.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's the 10 crack commandments. Why? Man can't tell me nothing about this coke. Can't tell me nothing about this crack, this weed, and my hustling.
I feel like everybody's seen this video like a million times.
I know what you think.
Yeah, some of them look really young. But we don't know.
I've been in this game for years. It made me an animal. It's rules.
Yeah, just go right into the section because I know it's going to be a long one.
Step-by-step booklet for you to get your game on track. Not your wig pushed back. Rule number uno. Never let no one know how much dough you hold. Cause you know that try to breed jealousy, especially if that man fucked up. Get your ass stuck up. Number 2, never let them know your next move. Don't you know bad boys move in silence and violence? Take it from your highness. I done squeeze mad clips at these cats for they bricks and chips. Number 3, never trust nobody. Your mom set that ass up, properly gassed up. Hoodie the masked up. For that fast buck, she be laying in the bushes to light that ass up. Number 4, know you heard this before. Never get high
on your own
supply. Never sell no crack when you rest that.
Are we gonna get a copyright for this? Probably.
Number 6, that goddamn credit, get it. You think a crackhead paying you back? Shit,
whatever.
7, this rule is so underrated. Keep your family and business completely separated. Money and blood don't mix like 2 dicks and no bitch. Find yourself in serious shit. Number 8, never keep no weight on you. Them cats that squeeze your guns can hold jumps too. Number 9 should have been number 1 to me. If you ain't getting back, stay the fuck for police. If niggas think you're snitching, they ain't trying to listen. They be sitting in your kitchen, waiting to start.
That one. Isn't that
a strong word called consignment? Strictly for live men, not for freshmen. If you ain't got the clientele, say hell no. Cause they gon' want their money, rain, sleet, hell, snow. Follow these rules, you have mad bread to break up. If not, 24 years on the wake up. Slug hit your temple, watch your frame shake up. Caretaker did your makeup. When you pass, your girl fuck my man Jacob.
Somebody said the laptop is a psyop. No, it's not. It just shows you the behavior of the people running this joint.
Yeah, no, it's real.
And that was a Soros, by the way, fam, in that one picture when they were in the car. That was George Soros and Hunter Biden in the car.
I mean, I'm sure the tinfoil hat is going crazy with that, but I mean, that's the facts. I mean, these people are all part of the powerful elite and they get together. It's not, it's not hard to believe.
Yeah. And the pedo stuff is just disgusting. But you know what? What are you going to do? So we have 330 people hanging out on the YouTubes. We have 120 people hanging out on the Rokfin. That's 450 people. Let's get it to 500 before it's all done. I'm going to jump right into the section. We'll save the super raise for the very end. Fam, we started talking about this. This is something that's so fucking intriguing. When the person brought me this story, who I speak to, one of my sources, when we started speaking about this, I'm like, dude, this is so fucking ridiculous. It seemed almost like, remember when we talked about when Julian Assange, when they were trying to make a plan to whack him? And it was like almost something out of like a James Bond script. When I started hearing stuff about this whole Spain and Morocco situation, and that's the name of the section, what is Morocco holding over Spain's head? I started saying the same thing. I'm like, this is just fucking crazy. But that as you get to the whole story, you can understand what's going on. Now, we're going to start with the map on slide 51 that Oz has over here. I just want to note some points within the area. You can see Spain and Madrid very close to each other, where Africa almost connects to Europe. Morocco and Spain. But below Morocco to the left over there is Western Sahara. Western Sahara has been claimed territory-wise by Morocco. They've been making a claim to it, and a vast majority of it. Meanwhile, there are a group of Sahrawis who are living in Western Sahara that have claimed right to that area. Algeria is their ally. Algeria and Morocco kind of butt heads. And for quite some time, Morocco has been trying to get the international community to recognize their claim to Western Sahara. Why? Everybody's going, why do they want this territory for so long? Just recently, Donald Trump recognized Western Morocco's claim to Western Sahara, which a lot of people don't talk about, fam, which needs to go on the regime change board. Okay. And then recently, Morocco has been trying to get European countries to recognize their claim to Western Sahara. Recently, Spain finally recognized it. And that was an old colony of Spain in Western Sahara. And a lot of the people within Spain don't want Spain recognizing Morocco's claim to Western Sahara at all. So this is entitled, why is Madrid pandering to Morocco so all of a sudden out of the blue? Spain has traded 5 decades of neutrality on Western Sahara while getting nothing but a spyware scandal in return. So this is just crazy. Like I talked about recently, Donald Trump recognized Western Sahara's claim, Morocco's claim to Western Sahara. Also, Israel recognized the claim too as well. And all Morocco had to do was recognize Israel's claim as a state. Not even talk about this. I mean, remember, there's a lot of Arabs in Morocco. It's controlled by a monarchy. They've always kind of stood up for the Palestinians. But in this particular situation, people are like, what the hell is going on over here? So let's dive a little bit into this, because this story is so intriguing. It's even going to get to resources, ladies and gentlemen. Stick with us. Spain's foreign policy strives to secure the country's status as a relevant middle power with a voice in Latin America, Europe, and the Mediterranean. In North Africa, however, Madrid is skating on thin ice. Matters first turned sour following the U.S. President Donald Trump's recognition in December of 2020 of Moroccan sovereignty over occupied Western Sahara. People didn't think much about it, fam, but I recognize Morocco's claim to Western Sahara, a former Spanish colony. Spain refused to follow suit and faced months of wrath from the Moroccan monarchy after authorities allowed Brahim Ghali, the leader of the Polisario Front, which is Western Sahara, remember, it's an old Spanish colony, which resists Moroccan control of the territory, into a Spanish hospital for COVID-19 treatment. Rabat, which is the capital of Morocco, retaliated by recalling its ambassador. So here comes Morocco. They're going, you need to recognize Spain, Europe, and all these other countries. You need to recognize our claim to Western Sahara. United States has recognized it. Israel's recognized it. You recognize it. And Spain's like, no. We're not going to recognize it. We've spent decades of staying out of this. We're going to stay neutral on this. We are not recognizing your claim to Western Sahara, but there's more, and it gets very interesting. The 15-month-long row included several spats in which Morocco weaponized thousands of people. Now listen to this, fam, because this is going to get to what we talked about with the refugees getting beat on in Morocco. In an exclave of Morocco is Spain. They actually have territory, two areas on proper Morocco, if that makes sense, where it's Spanish territory. It's like when we have, let's say, Guantanamo Bay. That's in Cuban territory, but it's our territory. That's what Spain has in Morocco. And it says it weaponized thousands of people, including hundreds of its own underage nationals, as diplomatic ammunition. The kingdom repeatedly halted border patrols, letting dozens of migrant boats reach the Spanish Canary Islands and allowing thousands of fence crossings into Spanish exclaves, Ceuta and Melilla, on Africa's main land. Now, if you remember the whole situation when it comes to Melilla, let's show this map over here. I don't know if they can see it, but if you look at right where Gibraltar is, right down across the way, there's Ceuta. And then on the right-hand side, where that little tip is speaking out, that's Melilla. If a refugee fam gets into those areas, they now have rights. They have claims to stay in Europe. Even though it's on African mainland, it's considered part of Europe. What the Moroccan government was doing, fam, was weaponizing it. As they were pissed off at the Spanish for not recognizing their claim to Western Sahara, they were opening up the floodgates. Like, go ahead. Go get to the Spanish. Now, it's harder to get to Canary Islands. You got to get in the water and get over there. But if you can get into Ceuta or Melilla, you now have claims and you have a right to get a lawyer to stay in Europe. And that's what was going on, fam. They weaponized it. They were pissed off that Spain was not recognizing their rights to the Western Sahara region. So they were doing that. They were actually weaponizing it. So stay with us now. In May and June of 2021, during the peak of the confrontation, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's phone was twice hacked by Israeli-developed malware Pegasus. Now, remember at this time, fam, Israel and Morocco made a pact together. They never had before, but now they made a pact together. This spyware, Pegasus, comes from Israel. So now it's like, hey, bud, now we're friends. Use our software. So a phone belonging to then Foreign Minister Arantxa González Laya, as well as the phones of Defense Minister Margarita Robles and Interior Minister Fernando Grande Marlaska, Agriculture Minister Luis Planas, and former Spanish ambassador to Morocco suffered a failed attempt. Given that a single Pegasus customer targeted over 200 phones, fam, including Morocco-focused journalist Ignacio, I love that name, Sombreros, all signs point to Morocco. Since the scandal erupted earlier this month, the Spanish government has denied Morocco's responsibility and sacked Madrid's spy chief. Despite knowing that the attacks from the onset, Spain embarked on a host of efforts at reconciliation with Morocco after welcoming the Polisario's leader. So here, all of a sudden, out of the blue, fam, they start changing their rhetoric a little bit more. And now they talked about this spyware that interrupted or caught a lot of their messages. It seems to me, fam, and a lot of people are saying this, that Morocco now had dirt to hold over Spain's head to nudge them to recognize their claim to Western Sahara. So according to Ali Lambert, a Moroccan journalist exiled in Spain, a longtime target of the Mazkan, which is the country's deep state that's of Morocco, Rabat, the capital of Morocco, could well be blackmailing Sanchez. He suggested that Morocco's intelligence services likely found something within almost 3 gigabytes of data siphoned from Sanchez's phone. Blackmailing foreign policies is their specialty, he said. Last July, Sanchez used a cabinet reshuffle to fire González Laya, who had been vilified in the Moroccan press. The pro-Moroccan diplomat and former ambassador in Paris, Jose Manuel Alvarez, took her place. Weeks later, the Spanish King Felipe VI highlighted the two countries' deep shared friendship in a written tribute to mark Moroccan King Mohammed VI's 22nd anniversary to the throne, when last fall, Algeria cut off gas shipments to its neighbor Spain, intervened to secure Morocco's energy supply. Still, none of the gestures seem to satisfy Rabat. So, fam, what's happening is, all of a sudden, Spain starts recognizing Rabat's claim to Western Sahara.
Mm-hmm.
Algeria, who are allies with the Western Sahrawis, I can't even say Sahrawis, the people there, the Polisario Front, they say, you know what, Spain, you want to recognize Morocco's claim to the Western Sahara? We're going to cut off your gas and energy supplies. Now, I got to tell people this. Algeria provides the third most amount of gas to Europe. The third amount of, they're number 3. Spain really depends upon them. So Algeria gets pissed off and plays games. This is great over here. Eventually, Sanchez caved on the biggest issue of all, fearing the consequences of Rabat's freeze and immigration deterrence and the economics caused by the Moroccan border closures on the frontier of Ceuta and Melilla. In a letter to King Mohammed VI dated March 14th, Sanchez dubbed the 2007 Moroccan proposal of the Sahrawi autonomy under Rabat's control in the Western Sahara the most serious, credible, and realistic basis towards resolving the conflict. 4 days later, the Moroccan palace leaked the diplomatic missive to the press. So in other words, they withheld, fam, the thing they wanted most. They wanted claim and recognition, the Moroccans did, of Western Sahara. Finally, Spain had cracked. All after the leaks, all after the agreements between Israel and Morocco, fam. It just seems like they used Pegasus to gain some form of information to finally nudge Spain over the edge. And I will remind you, fam, that most people within Spain do not agree with Spain as a country standing behind Morocco's claims to Western Sahara. They don't like it at all, fam.
Fam, continue. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is in April 10th over here, and I believe this is 2021, I believe. I could be wrong. It says, this is from Reuters now. In Madrid, April 10th, the Polisario Front, Western Sahara's independence movement on Sunday said it was severing ties with Spain after Madrid backed Morocco's plan giving autonomy to the former Spanish colony. Spain has supported the autonomy plan as a way to resolve a long-running dispute over Western Sahara, which Morocco considers its own territory. But the Polisario, backed by Algeria, has rejected the autonomy proposal and wants an independence referendum. The Polisario said, and this is the Western Sahara people, said the plan aimed to legitimize the annexation of the Western Sahara, ignoring the inalienable rights of the Sahrawi people to self-determine and independence. Last month, Spain told Morocco it considered the autonomy proposal Western Sahara was serious, credible, and realistic. Spain's backing for Morocco's plan has helped end a year-long diplomatic crisis between the two countries. Now, fam, this happens. Algeria has gas. It says, you know what, Spain? Screw you. We're not going to do that. But it gets even hairier, fam, because this is something crazy. Now look at this. This is from Middle Eastern Eye, Western Sahara, Algeria, and Spain's dangerous row. A lack of mediator in the Western Sahara crisis risk long-term damage to Algeria's relationship with the EU. And you got a picture over there. They're sitting up. They're looking for people to stand up for the rights for people in Western Sahara and not be in line with Morocco, their dictatorship, their monarchy. In recent years, more Western and Arab governments have moved towards embracing Morocco's position and narratives on the Western Sahara conflict. The trend infuriates Algeria, the main state sponsor of the Polisario Front, which are the people in Western Sahara. Last March, Spain, Western Sahara's former colonial ruler, endorsed the 2007 Morocco autonomy plan, aligning Madrid with Rabat on the dispute. So that is them now going ahead and saying, we're going to look at that old treaty you have, and we're going to recognize that, and we're going to recognize your claim to this area. On June 8th, reports suggested that Algeria had suspended the friendship and cooperation treaty it signed with Spain in 2002, though Algeria later denied this. Fam, this has some serious implications. Further reports suggesting that Algeria has gone even further, suspending trade relationships with Spain are also false. Rather, the Algerian state stopped providing foreign exchange facilities to Algerian businesses involved in trading goods with Spain, causing a suspension of almost all imports and exports except the existing long-term contract, including Spain's natural gas imports. The move was viewed as intended to punish Spain for abandoning the neutralities of the Western Sahara, which Algeria said was a violation of legal, moral, and political obligations. So, fam, they're like, you want to do that? You want to play games? We're cutting you off. They pretty much cut off all their natural gas to Spain. Spain starts freaking out. What does Algeria do? Well, Algeria goes, F you, Spain. Hey, Italy, you want some natural gas at a good price? And Italy's like, oh, yeah, sure. We'll take some natural gas at a good price. And then Spain looks at Italy and goes, wait a sec, what are you doing? We're your ally. You're taking this gas over here. Algeria is actually causing a spat because of all the sanctions and the war with Russia. They're actually causing a spat. So this was from Bloomberg. Italy and Spain hold talks ahead of tensions over Algerian gas. Both European countries are customers of Algeria's Sonatrach. Higher flows to Italy raise fears others may see as the supply is curbed. Fam, they're taking their natural gas and going, screw you. Hey, Italy will give it to you at a good price, and causing a commotion there. There's so many things that are tied up over here. Diplomats from Italy and Spain are holding talk after Rome's move to secure large volumes of Algerian gas stoked concerns in Madrid that its own access to the key fuel could be affected, according to people familiar with the situation. Europe is scrambling to displace Russian sources of energy following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Italy's deal for extra volumes with Algeria, equivalent to about 12% of its demand, is a significant step towards easing dependence on Russia. But the deal has raised concern in Spain's gas industry that it may strengthen Algeria's hand in talks with Spain, with which it has been locked for months of negotiations over price. It hasn't been locked because of price, fam. This is where they lie in the Bloomberg over here. It's been locked because Algeria is pissed off that Spain is recognizing Morocco's claim to the Western Sahara. And you can see right here, the next one, slide 67, Algeria threatens to cut off gas supplies to Spain, fam. That is what's going on in the Sahara. Now, I'm going to wrap this up. We're going to get really quickly to this. We remember what happened in Melilla, right? There were tons of of protesters,
migrants,
not protesters, migrants, refugees, beat down, killed, whatnot. First, I want to play the spin from Moroccan police and whatnot, how they're trying to spin it as if, and it's really hard to read, but pretty much what they were trying to say is that Algeria worked with these refugees to plan an attack to kill Moroccan police. In fact, Oz, let's just skip that one, but that's what they said. Let's get to 70. I want to explain to what's going on. We're going to skip 69, right? 68 and 69. Let's go to 70. People were wondering what happened over there. Once those deals came through, and this is just like Tony Soprano, fam, what they're going to do is they're going to say, all right, we weaponized all these immigrants, all these refugees. We weaponized them. We let them go through now. Now, since you've recognized Western Sahara, we're going to do you solid. We're going to stop the flow of illegal immigration coming to your country. You know how they do it, fam? They leak a video like this where they show the people of Africa, the young men of Africa. This is a lot more emphasis. This has got a lot more oomph than Kamala's "Don't come here." This, they show you what happens if you come here. Let's take a look at this again. There it is, fam. Now, a video like that should be taken down, right? Like, in other words, you would think it would be taken down for all the rules they have, showing violence and whatnot. They should take it down, right? Now, this was leaked out there, and it keeps getting up, and it keeps getting posted, and it's easy to find. This was definitely a message sent right now. This is what the Moroccans are doing. They're showing, okay, we're going to show the people of Africa, you come here, and this is what will happen to you. This is the way you close up the leakage. Remember, they were weaponizing it and letting people through. Now that they got their way, and now that Spain has recognized their claim to Western Sahara, Morocco's claim to Western Sahara, they're like, we'll take care of this. That is just a theory, but it seems like a logical one because they did weaponize the migration situation, and now that they're kind of working with Morocco and Spain are working together, it's like a Tony Soprano thing. Yeah, I'll have them show up at your work tomorrow. Now that you've given me what I want, now that I've coerced you, now that I blackmail you and you've given me what you want, now I'll give you what you want.
But Spain agreed with it. The Spanish, I think, I forget his name, but the Spanish, one of the officials in Spain was saying how, yeah, we agree with the force that the police use because these people are out of control.
Yeah. Well,
while simultaneously having accepted a lot of Ukrainian refugees. And so people have been pointing out to the racist elements of this as well.
Absolutely. And that's why there's another video we didn't watch because it's really hard to read and stuff like that. But they were trying to say that these refugees were planning an attack on Moroccan police to kill them and whatnot. And that's why they acted ahead of in doing what they had to do. Now, fam, the claim to Western Sahara, the claim that was easily recognized by Donald Trump and nobody said anything, the claim that was recognized by Netanyahu, what does that mean? Well, we've talked about this before. What was the biggest problem when it comes to Putin shutting down everything with the sanctions? We also said it was the fertilizer, right? Well, the country that holds the most phosphates in their country is Morocco. Number 2, Western Sahara, one of the largest conveyor belts. And this is countries with the largest phosphate reserves. Well, believe it or not, it's Morocco and the Western Sahara. There's the largest conveyor belt that takes this phosphate out of the ground in the form of a rock and sends it to the ports. They need this for fertilizer, fam. This is a resource grab. Phosphate rocks are found across the world, both in sedimentary and indigenous deposits. Phosphate is used to produce, indigenous, I'm sorry. Phosphate
ingenious.
What's that? Ingenious deposits. Not indigenous. Ingenious deposits, my bad. Phosphate is used to produce fertilizer that is essential in replacing the phosphorus that is removed by plants from the soil. Phosphate rocks are mainly mined by split technology. However, a significant amount of deposits in the countries such as China and Russia are extracted by underground mining. In 2017, the U.S. Geological Survey estimated that the phosphate reserves around the world amounted to approximately 68 billion metric tons. In 2010, the International Fertilizer Development Center estimated that the global phosphate reserve will last for several hundred years if there is zero growth in reserves. But which countries have the largest phosphate reserves in the world? Most of the world's largest phosphate reserves are in Morocco, with the country accounting approximately 70% of the total reserves, or 50 billion tons. It is also the second largest producer, with the most of the production coming from the Boykra mine in Western Sahara. Morocco remains the largest exporter of phosphate. However, the high cost of mining and threats of war has derailed the production of phosphate in the country. China is a distant second, with 5% of the total reserves, translating to approximately 3.1 billion tons. However, China remains the largest producer of phosphate at 138 million metric tons. If China maintains the current production rates, its phosphate reserve will be exhausted in the next 35 years. And if you look at this next chart over here, fam, Morocco, 70%. The only problem is, fam, a lot of that 70% is in Western Sahara. That's why they want this territory. And that's something that the last president, Donald Trump, set up to hand the baton to Joe Biden. Is the fact is that if they're back in Morocco, Morocco is an ally of the United States and the Israel, and they have claims to all that phosphate in Western Sahara. You can put it together, fam, and figure it out for yourself. Yeah. All the phosphate is in Western Sahara. People have been sleeping on this and don't realize what's going on. And, fam, it's a regime change. It's a regime change. For Donald Trump just to acknowledge we can't let China get in there, and just to acknowledge Morocco, the monarchy, to have rights over that and ignore all the UN resolutions and sit down at the table. It's a regime change, and it's all about resource extraction. People can't be sleeping. Exactly. That's what's going on. And that's how all this stuff was connected with these refugees and whatnot. It was like, whoa, because I was like, something's going on over here. I know there's something going on between Morocco and Spain. What the hell is this all about? So connect the dots, if you will, fam. That's the story about what's going on in Morocco and Western Sahara.
It's always about resource extraction and manipulating poor people and using them as pawns to meet these goals and these imperialist goals of resource extraction. It's really sad, but that's literally what it's about at the end of the day, really.
Yeah. And the whole situation with the whole Pegasus, which hacked the phones, like, saying it's like, here's Morocco. They make an alignment with Israel. Pegasus comes from Israel. You need help getting some information. Let's give Spain a push. Now you get some dirt information on them. You give them the little push. Now they go along with it. They've been avoiding, fam, recognizing Morocco's claim to Western Sahara for a long time. A lot of Europe has. A lot of people within Spain. They were not happy with what happened at the border with these refugees, and they were not happy with the claim to Western Sahara. So, I mean, it's just kind of crazy. Like I said, when I first heard about this and I heard about Pegasus, I'm like, what the hell is going on over here? And then I was like, well, why does the United States and Israel, why are they getting involved? That's where all the phosphate is.
Nice little deep dive, fam.
Fam, what do you got over here? We got facts, Blumenthal?
Yeah, so apparently they didn't, it wasn't a strike. They just said that the video they posted, Mason Gate, exposing Paul Mason's secret spook plot to destroy the gray zone, it violates their harassment, threats, and cyberbullying policy because it's going against somebody from within the confines of the establishment, I guess. It's our job to make sure YouTube is a safe place for all. A safe place for all the warmongers, imperialists, and war criminals. How does this impact your content? We won't be putting your content back up on YouTube. So it's that they removed video and they won't put it back. If your appeal was for a warning, you will not be giving another warning. If your appeal was for a strike, the strike will remain on your channel. I don't know if they got a strike or not, but that's the information we have. That is terrible. YouTube is getting worse. They're cracking down on everybody that is a threat to the establishment in any way, shape, or form, even if you're not a threat. If they remotely think you're going to be, now they're starting to crack down on everybody. So what are we going to do about it, guys? You diversify your content. Go to Rokfin. Go to Rumble. I think I saw somebody post that Tara Reid already is on Rumble and got a lot more views.
Yeah, we need to get
for
over
her video on Rumble.
We need to get over to Rumble
than she ever gets on YouTube, and she's been on YouTube forever. So, well, in comparison, right? And so that just goes to show you guys, it just diversify your content. Yes, we will be on Rumble soon.
Yeah. Mommy asked me about the future, fam. She's like, well, what's the future going to be look like for you guys? What's going to happen and stuff? Can you guys rely on certain things? I'm like, Mom, it's so shaky out there. We don't know what's going to happen. What happens if they try to deplatform Rokfin like they did? What was the one? Parler. Like they can just say, if we don't like what you're saying, if you're, not playing by our rules, we can take you down. So, I mean, what's to say that stuff can't happen to everybody, or anybody at this time? That's why you just can't even make any solid plans moving forward in this business, because you don't know what's going to bring tomorrow. You can be cut off and shut down, because we know also Peter Thiel is invested in Rumble, and eventually one day they can. So it's just one thing after the other. The problem is that we live in a fascist society, and the oligarchs and the imperialists are getting away with bloody murder, and they're not going to stop until they are stopped.
That's exactly it. They're not. Or until we stop them, guys. So, let's get some Super A's and get on out of here. We're going to be on, should we tell them?
Yeah, we're going to be on Jimmy Dore in a couple hours to talk a little bit more about AMLO. So tune on in to Jimmy Dore in a couple hours, and we will be on the show. Me and Fee breaking it down. Fee is going to stay up late night there in Moscow just to hold it down. But I think it's important, fam. You have an amazing perspective, and this is why people watch us, because when you go to these countries, when you get down to the global south, and that's the thing is, like, you have a great advantage. You understand the language as well. So you can really bring forth what people are trying to say down there. And when we're connected to the people and we understand what the people on the ground want, we can bring that to you as news. And that's the most important thing, because that's the thing they're lying about most. They want you to think that things are different within their country, that most of the governments that are ruling these people are not elected. They're just, fascist, crazy people. And that's what we have in our state, where they actually have more of a representative government. And that's what we witness when we go down to these places. John House, thank you for the Super 8 contribution, fam. It is always appreciated on the couch. Thank you so much, John House. ARAM, so close to President Biden Jr. Thank you. Black in the Empire. Daryl, what's up, baby?
Daryl.
Going. Hey, fam. Good show. Daryl, we love your shit. We love your tweets. You are so on point. You are on fire. Anytime you want to come on our shows and spit some game, please do. You have an open invitation over here, because you are always appreciated on the couch. And AREM says, thank you very much for the Super 8 contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Amber King, phosphorus mining is a necessity for chemical farming and glyphosate use. As China becomes corrupted by the chemical cartel, it is also used in sodium fluoride in your water and white sulfur in chemical weapons. Perfect profit circles at it again. Amber, we got to get together and talk more. And we got to get some experts on it, because I want to learn a lot more about fertilizers moving forward, because there is this argument, and I think we've talked about this before with Glory, right? When it comes to Narendra Modi, how he went with a lot of these chemical fertilizers, which allow them to produce mass amounts quicker, faster, and feed more people. However, it is like Roundup shit, and it's very fucking awful. What are the means of producing other crops and whatnot, farming wise, using fertilizers without using the heavy chemical cartel fertilizers? That is something I want to learn more about, because there were talks. A lot of farmers in Sri Lanka, certain farmers were complaining the fact that they were stripped from certain fertilizers and they couldn't grow anymore. So this is something we need to learn about, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about it the other day on AM Wake Up. When it comes to fertilizers, we need to know the skinny about what's going on around the world and how these chemicals are used within our fertilizer, whether they be bad, they can be replaced, and what we can do. So this is something we need to talk about, fam. It's a big one, because a lot of people feel what's going on in the Netherlands. It's not a nitrate issue, they say. It's let's close down the smaller farmer and make sure only the big farmers can operate. so we can take over their small businesses. They're using the green climate deals as a weapon. They weaponized it to get rid of the small farmer and let guys like Bill Gates buy up all the farmland and then set up shop and do business, fam. This is an issue we have to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't know much about fertilizers. I just know that there's an attempt to poison our food and to kill people. So
yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about, and that's, I mean, that's the problem with the people getting just over the top, dramatic crisis actors that we got to do this, we got to do that. Like, it's a crisis. Everybody's got to take the shot. Everybody's got to get rid of all these practices and stuff like that. That's the problem when people are crisis motivated, because then they get to be labeled as alarmist rather than having serious conversations. Like I told you this right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you this all the time. I would ban fracking because it affects our water. Well, people think that's being too crisis motivated. That's being an alarmist of sorts, and we're not having serious conversations on what we really need to do. So, I mean, these are issues that we're going to have to start talking about, because the Green New Deal, that screwed up climate conversation in this country more than anything, because it didn't focus on things like bombs and what they do, and it was a handout just to all the major corporations, and it didn't have a serious conversation about climate change. And the other side goes, look how crazy they're being. They're being a bunch of alarmists. They're like the gun people. They want to take away all our guns, and now they want to enact all these laws. They want to have climate lockdowns. These people are crazy. So what happens? We don't talk about serious reforms that we need to talk about when it comes to our food. I'm shutting up now, fam, because I know I'm talking too much. The coffee is hicked in, and you're just...
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how much coffee did you have? Like, bro, like, it's midnight here. I'm trying to stay awake.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the show today. We had about 300 people watching right now. That's awesome. On the YouTube's close to it, 266. That number has dropped a little bit. We had 105 now on Rokfin. We had about 450, 460 people watching at one time, and that is awesome, guys. That means a lot to us. Thank you to all those people who left those Super Ray contributions, to people who've signed up. We can't thank you enough. In a couple hours, we will be on Jimmy Dore, so you can catch us on over there. So for Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella,
Oz on the ones and twos, and Shanda hanging on out in the background over there. We love them.
CONVO out. Bye, guys.